welcome to episode 134 of Outside the Circle, a podcast dedicated to new and upcoming country artists, musicians, and songwriters. Today's guest will be Connor Daly. We'll get to him in a little bit, but first, I'm Ronnie. Here's Brian.
Yeah, what's happening, man? We are at it, and this is actually, I'm back. I'm back in this interview, which is good. That's good for the...
Right, that's right. This is the first one with your voice in the interview.
Yeah. So yeah, you're all welcome. And, secondly, I mean, the big news here in the Hopkins world is that Wyatt started school, or I guess pre-K, and we're calling it school, but it's like daycare, pre-K daycare type of thing. He has never been to a daycare or anything. We've been gracious enough, and my wife has been patient enough to deal with him at home for the past 3.5, 4 years. And so, he is out in the world, I guess we could say. And very strange thing to bring your kid, at least your firstborn, to a place of strangers and just hand him off and be like, okay, I will be back in 12 hours. Hopefully you still have him.
I know we talked about it a little bit yesterday, so it's Tuesday that we're doing this intro here, so it's been 2 days of school, but I know we talked yesterday, Monday, after the first day, and I found it very funny that you were saying all that, dropping him off. It's the first time he's out with nobody, and I said, there's pictures of him with scissors, so clearly he learned something in one day. So yeah, you send him out in the world and he comes back knowing how to use scissors. I guess that's a good thing, right?
Yeah, man. And it's a crazy thing. I never would have thought to experience, or that it would even affect me in the way that it did. And what a weird thing. I find myself now just like watching the clock at work, waiting until I can jump in my truck and go pick him up again.
Yeah. Yeah, and you said that he was always home with Jamie, so him always being home, you never had to, like, now, like when the workday ends, like you gotta go get him, pick him up. He can't just be sitting around. Daycare ends.
Yeah, I mean, that was the thing. It's like, when he was at home with Jamie and stuff, in my head, in my mind, my consciousness, it's, my world is safe, right? And now that he's out, it's that constant like nagging feeling of that I need to get him back,
Yeah.
That might be the new parent in me saying that stuff, but no, that's the feeling that happens.
Yeah, I'm sure it's interesting, and I was listening back to a few of our episodes in the spring, and we talked about right before Hunter was born. We talked about having Wyatt, and then now having a second, and like what you were anticipating that to be like and feel like, and I can't wait for 3 years from now when we have this conversation again, and she starts going to school, and we just dropped her off. It's whatever. Like,
just open the door and let her walk in.
Yeah. You don't even slow the car down. Just yeah. No, that's awesome. It's crazy that he's already in daycare, or pre-K, right? So this is actual pre-K. So time's flying. It's wild.
Wild thing. And, he's in the 2 days, he comes back telling me all the stuff that he's learning and stuff like that. So it's just cool. It's cool to have a little dude to talk to.
Nice. Well, I guess, not a little dude, but a dude we did talk to. We, like you mentioned, this is your first interview back, since the summer. And we sat down with Connor Daly probably about a month ago now. This is another good one. Great guy, great artist, and looking forward to people hearing it.
Yeah.
All right, everyone. We're here today with singer-songwriter Connor Daly. Welcome to Outside the Circle, Connor. Thanks for joining us today.
Thank you very much. It's great to be here.
Yeah, we're excited. We It is now September, so a few months after the release of your debut album, which we'll definitely jump into. But before we get into the current day, we always like to kind of start from the beginning. Tell us a little bit about, where you grew up and how important music was in your household, kind of things like that.
For sure. Yeah. So I grew up in Northern Virginia, so right outside of DC. I started playing piano, just like taking lessons when I was like 3 or 4 years old. And I took it till I was about 8 or 9, and then I stopped. I wish I kept playing piano because I really respect good piano players nowadays. So I wish I kept those lessons going. Um,
I've
but
found somebody that said like, "Man, I'm so glad I never picked up piano again."
yeah, no, I think piano's so cool. I can
Good.
just play basic chords now, which is kind of sad. But I
Yeah,
mean,
no,
I
I'm
can
with.
play River Flows in You really poorly, but that's about it. If
Yeah,
you guys know one.
yeah.
Um,
I didn't mean to cut you.
yeah,
No, it's such a thing. Every time we have like, yeah, I played piano when I was a kid. I dropped off, but I totally regret it. It's
yeah,
like
right.
not every single time someone says that. And you're right, because on a piano, you don't need anybody else. You can just like hammer out and think things through. Everything's so visualized, and yeah,
Exactly.
you can run a house with a piano, man. That's
Oh
awesome.
yeah, for sure. But yeah, being 8 years old, I feel like I didn't really want to keep doing lessons
Right.
because they weren't, how to practice a lot.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I stopped piano, and then fast forward, um, I didn't really do any instruments between then and then I started playing guitar in seventh grade when they offered just like intro to acoustic guitar. So I took that, and then throughout high school, I took classical guitar. Um, so just like doing random pieces, like every part of the class had like a different part, I guess, of the song, kind of like an ensemble, like doing different songs, which was fun. But I didn't really start like strumming or like playing popular songs that people would think are cool until college. Um, so fast forward. Oh, I guess I should talk a little bit about the household. So my family's not too musical, but my dad, he was a pretty solid trombone player back in the day. He played in high school jazz band. They got second place at states. He's still mad about that. But yeah, so I think my dad's side of the family is a little bit more musical, but there's always like music in and around my house, which was kind of nice, like growing up around it. Um, so yeah, so college comes around, I start strumming the guitar, just like playing covers and stuff, and decided to write my first song just for fun after my freshman year of college, so about 6 years ago now. Um, and since then, I wrote as much as I could, I guess, throughout school. Um, I was on the track and field team too, so I was like kind of busy with that and like school and stuff. But like in my meantime, I was like writing and trying to learn stuff on the guitar and like learn songs and stuff. Um, so yeah, I guess fast forward to this point, about 6 years after my first song, I've written close to 200, somewhere around there would be like a good guess. So I've been like pretty consistent, written a lot of songs, written a lot of bad songs, but those led me to the good ones. So yeah, but I've always been around music, and I really enjoy it.
Yeah, man. So you have a certain sound to the music that you released so far. My question is like, what were your influences growing up?
Yeah, I listened to a lot of Ed Sheeran growing up. He was like my number one dude. Um, I just think that he's great at writing like catchy melodies, like memorable hooks and stuff like that. I mean, he's a great like storyteller too, which helps. Who else did I listen to? I mean, I listened to some Taylor Swift, but
Me
she's
too. Me too.
really catchy melodies. Yeah, who didn't listen to Taylor Swift growing up? But
Brian.
yeah, I guess like more recently, like I've passed like throughout high school and college and stuff, I listened to mostly country for the most part, like Luke Combs, some Morgan Wallen in there. And then the past few years, I've been getting more into like folk, singer-songwriter kind of stuff, like Jason Isbell or what like Watch House, the band Watch House, or like Charles Wesley Godwin, kind of stuff like that. I mean, I feel like the whole kind of genre as a whole is kind of transitioning to that stuff because people are now appreciating music that sounds like real and like authentic and raw. So I think it's like yeah.
No, I agree with you. I think I'm actually looking forward to what country music is turning to lately.
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I feel like we see this, every handful of years there's always this changeover on what the sound is. And I think who are some of the big guys now, like Tyler Childers, even like Noah Kahan, and these kinds of guys out there that are putting that guitar forward. Um, yeah, it's going to change a lot of country, and I'm excited for it.
Yeah, it's going to be very interesting because I feel like a lot of people don't necessarily put them in the country category. Like they're kind of like outsiders, but I mean, they're getting like so popular nowadays. It's like there's so many different crossovers nowadays. It's hard to really see a specific genre. It's all kind of blended.
Yeah. And I kind of want to go back to high school a little bit. So you mentioned that you kind of studied classical guitar, and kind of took those classes and whatnot. Um, the I guess the playing style maybe is what I'm getting to. Like the
Yeah.
playing style, I feel like, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like that's kind of lending itself to what is, what we're talking about, this like folky version of country now.
Hmm.
There's a lot of
Yeah,
similarities, I would assume.
I could see that. Yeah, for sure. Like classical music, like classical guitars, all with the fingers, like everything's finger picked. Um, so like no picks or anything, no, just like hard strumming for the
Yeah.
most part. So I
Yeah.
guess like stuff like that kind of resembles some of the stuff that's in the transitioning into like Americana kind of stuff nowadays.
Well, I mean, along the same lines too. I mean, Zach Brown came from the exact same background. He was a
Yeah,
guitar player. I mean, that's why you see him with a nylon strung guitar 3/4 of the time.
yeah,
And same thing. Like he just like when he thought of guitar, he thought of like playing pieces, not so much of like strumming and singing at the same time. That the first time that
yeah.
he that was like at a party or something, it blew his mind. you know.
Yeah, no,
Um,
it definitely taught me like the basics of like just how to read music in general and like how songs are kind of structured. So it definitely like taught me the basics I needed to at least write a song. So definitely helped.
Cool. So then, kind of going from there, you mentioned college. You started, playing more, and then started writing. Um, was it about that time that you kind of knew that music was going to be the career that you were going to focus on? Like, what was that transition for you? That light bulb moment where you went, "Oh yeah, this is what I'm doing."
Let's see. I guess there wasn't like really a exact moment that I knew like I really wanted to do music. It was kind of like a slow burn. Like I just started writing songs. Then once I got to like, my 30th, 40th song, whatever the number was, like I knew that I really enjoyed it and obviously would love to do it as a career, but still never thought I would, you know, really try to do a career in music or anything like that. Um, and even like when I graduated college, like I really enjoyed songwriting. Um, and I was really like in the deep end of like, trying to be an artist in the background, but like I was still living in Virginia at the time and got a job in the government. And yeah, so I guess there was never like a light bulb moment. But, here we are now. I moved to Nashville almost 2 months ago, like 6 weeks ago, a little over 6 weeks. So it's definitely, I think, the right decision and the right time to make the jump. But it's exciting
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, there's no time like the present, right? So,
for
yeah,
sure.
no, that's awesome. So we keep talking about songwriting, so let's kind of focus on that a little bit. So, kind of at the core of it, like what does that process look like for you? What gets your songwriting mojo going?
Yeah. Let's see. I guess luckily, like I don't have too much pressure to like try to write music. Um, like at least for like the first album, like I had like all those years of writing to like just write. So I never had any pressure before, and now like I still don't feel pressure, which is nice because I have plenty of songs written. I think even for a second album already because I've been writing so much. But yeah, I just kind of sit down with my guitar. I've tried to write on the piano, but I'm just not as good as writing on the guitar. Just because I know like where the chords are and everything. I don't have to think about that while I'm trying to think of like a melody or whatever idea or something like that. So I sit down with my guitar and then pretty much just like lay the groundwork, find some chords. Um, if I need like an upbeat song or like want to write like a slow, like happy or slow sad or whatever it'd be, like I kind of just go in with like a very generic, broad idea of kind of like what kind of song I want to try to write. Lay the chords down, put my phone on the table, hit record, and then just try to come up with like melodies and stuff like that. And then once I find a melody I like, I try to put some words to it, and that's pretty much it. I don't really have like the ideas of songs like going in. I think like the melodies of the songs kind of write themselves to a certain extent. Um, like if it's like a sad song and like the first verse is about, I don't know, something sad, then the title like feels a little bit more natural when you get to the end of the chorus, as opposed to just like trying to write the whole song based off like one word or one phrase that you came up with beforehand.
Right. Yeah, that's good. Do you only write by yourself, or you write with other folks?
I've done a few co-writes. I'm trying to get into some more co-writes down here in Nashville. I've pretty much all written just like by myself, but the few co-writes that I have done, I like really enjoyed them. So I've got a few on the calendar right now. Met a few people, but haven't done any yet. But I'm excited to like write with other people. I think it's going to be like a little bit different, just because I feel like songwriting is very personal, and like having to like just like tell them your deepest, darkest thoughts like while you're like writing the song is going to be interesting. But yeah, I think that's just kind of how it works. But I'm excited to start writing with people.
Yes, yeah, I it's funny you said that your deepest, darkest thoughts are, you're bouncing these ideas off of people, but I would imagine that the honesty that comes with that is what ultimately writes the best song.
Oh yeah, for sure.
By really putting yourself out there, we always talk about like authenticity and things like that, but um, even in that even in that moment of just you and however many other writers are in the room, that the ability to be honest in what you're trying to put out is gonna write the best song. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, sometimes you got to put your mind to the side and like try not to think too much and just see what comes out.
Yeah. So you said you've done a couple co-writes so far. So having all these years of writing by yourself and now getting into the co-writing side of it, is there something that you've kind of taken away from the co-writes that maybe you weren't expecting, or something that really kind of stuck out to you?
Yeah, so I've only done 4 co-writes. It was on just like a random Nashville trip that I came down for like 8 or 9 months ago. Um, but I'm sure I learned something subconsciously, I guess. But like each of those, just because it was like my first time writing and they were like, more established writers, I came in with like a first verse and chorus pretty much for all of them. So I kind of like pretty much knew where the second verse was going to go, but I've never like started a song from scratch in a room with people. So I think that's going to be kind of fun, just like really bouncing ideas off each other.
Yeah. All right. So I do want to jump into the music itself now, but before we do that, I always like to ask, especially, having 6 years under your belt here with songwriting, do you remember the first song that you wrote, what it was about?
I do, of course I do. Yeah. So it was actually not. It was definitely not my worst song I've ever written.
Oh, that's good.
Even though it was my first. Yeah, a strong start. But so it was after my freshman year of college, and I was dating a girl, and then she lived in Southern Virginia, and I lived in Northern Virginia. So it was like a 3.5 hour drive, and I went to go visit her like a few times during the summer. And like I would always joke with her, like, because she knew I was kind of into music, like had the guitar in my dorm room, whatever, like trying to look cool. But yeah, so we would always like joke around, and she was like, "You should write me a song." I'm like, "Okay, sounds good. I'll write you a song." And it was summer, and I guess I was bored or something, back at my parents' house, and I sat down and tried to write a song, and it was called "Worth the Drive." It has never seen the light of day, which is a very good thing, and I'm gonna keep it that way to the best of my ability. But yeah, that was my first song, and yeah, wasn't as bad as I thought it was gonna be.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I think it's safe to say that many, many first songs tend to lend themselves to whatever that current relationship is, or the girl you're chasing, or yeah, um,
Like a little piece of that time period of the life, like
yeah.
what else?
Um, all right, cool. So let's fast forward to now. I think before we kind of keep going, we should play one of the songs for you that we're gonna play. So why don't you go ahead and introduce it for us, and then we'll talk about it when we come back.
Sure, sounds good. So the song that's gonna be played is called "Ain't Got a Cape," and it is definitely the saddest song that I have on the album. Um, And it is about an issue that's very prevalent in today's society, mental health challenges. And I know a lot of people struggle with mental health. I'm sure everybody knows somebody too who struggles with mental health challenges. So the song is about a guy who has a loved one who struggles with mental health challenges, and he just kind of feels helpless, like there's nothing he can truly do to help them out and save them at the end of the day. Because he's not Superman, he doesn't have a cape, so ain't got a cape. Hope you guys like it.
837-820-5846. 39 Cleveland Avenue.
This fall air feels a lot colder than last year. But maybe it's 'cause you ain't here, hugging on me like you did. And those brown leaves trying to stay on those tall trees was kinda like you hanging on me. Then a big gust came and off you went. And you were falling down and needed someone to come and take your pain away. Before you hit that ground, you looked to me, hoping I'd come through and save the day. But you knew, darling, you knew, I ain't got a cape. Those trails that used to take us out to those old rails. You hear a train coming and we both bail, jumping off the side in the leaves. Well, I still go there, and I still wait for the trains to hit that cold air. I swear I keep seeing you there, through the cars on the other side. And like those leaves blowing by, you were falling down and needed someone to come and take your pain away. Before you hit that ground, you looked to me, hoping I'd come through and save the day. But you knew, darling, you knew, I ain't got a cape. Started drifting into dark, dark places, and I didn't know how to break your fall. And I could barely hear a word you were saying, but I know it's my name
All right, so let's talk about Ain't Got a Cape. Um, you kind of gave us the introduction to it before we jumped into the song, but what was kind of that inspiration behind that song for you, and putting it together and ultimately putting it on the record?
Yeah, so that one, like I said before, like I don't really, most of my songs I don't really have an idea what the song's going to be about before going in, and that's the case with that song too. I was kind of started with the kind of dark tone, like boom, 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 boom. That was a terrible representation of what it sounded like. But the guitar part, the sad kind of guitar part, and then I wrote the first verse first, and I wasn't sure if it was going to be like about a breakup or something, but I knew it was about like a girl leaving, and I knew it was like a little bit deeper than that. And then I came up with a melody for the chorus, and then like I always go back to it, my voice memo app, just because I think it's kind of cool to see like the seeds of a song, like where it all started. And like I got to the end of the chorus, and like 10 seconds just kind of paused, and I guess I was just thinking, and I just said, "Ain't got a cape." I was like, "Ooh, that's interesting," and that's kind of where it started, and then the song just kind of grew from there, and ended up being one of my favorites on the album.
Nice. No, I mean, the folks at home are going to be thrilled about this, but I always talk about the production value of these songs, and
Yeah.
man, it's put together great. The guitar tone is awesome, and it has that cool, like sad, dark undertone the whole time. But it has like you said, like it's your saddest song. Uh,
Yeah.
like there's like a hopefulness that you feel throughout it,
Yeah.
like almost like you're rooting for the underdog kind of thing that's
Yeah.
going on.
I could totally see that.
Yeah. So yeah, dude, killer song. I'm really into it.
Appreciate that. No, thank you so much. It means a lot. Yeah, definitely one of my favorites.
Yeah, yeah, and I usually always like to tackle the lyric, the content side of it, and um, as somebody who struggles with mental health pretty heavily on the regular, um, the first time I heard this song, it came across our probably what's about 3 months now, 2.5 months or so that it came across our desk, and um, I was instantly hooked. You mentioned that the helplessness and feeling like you need to help somebody, but it's not you don't know how to help. As somebody who tends to be on the other side of that, and the grasping for the help, it kind of put a new perspective, and almost like there's like a help of understanding that I don't know where what I'm trying to get to, but it's knowing that there's people that want to help, but they just don't know how
For
is
sure.
um, probably the biggest thing that I took out of this. That we send out our lifelines, but it's not that nobody's paying attention. It's just that nobody knows how to be there. And I think that this song is so important because we don't really ever hear that side of it, right? It's
Yeah.
always about the person that's going through it. And
Yeah.
we don't really hear about the friends, the family, the significant others, what that does to them. So yeah, from a lyric side, from a just the overall theme of the song, I absolutely love this song. So, yeah.
That means so much. I really appreciate that. Yeah. Yeah. You're making me have a whole new kind of vision on like what it's about for sure. It's definitely about just kind of like not feeling alone, too. Like there's other, people out there. You don't have to feel alone when you're going through the struggles. There's always somebody around you that would love to help you.
Yeah. And that's the cool part about music, right? That it's so subjective. Is that the word? That each person will take their own part of it, and it just continues to build the story, right? And um, especially with a song like this, and the fact that it is the first song on the record, and we keep saying that, but your debut record, Colors Fade, which came out end of July, I believe, about
Yep.
July
July
26th
26th.
or so.
Right.
Um, so kind of going from Ain't Got a Cape to the rest of the record, kind of take us through how that response has been to the album and, how it's been received since its release.
For sure, yeah. So the album's it's 12 tracks, all that I'm very proud of, and it was definitely hard to choose which ones were going to be on the album, just because by that point I had so many songs. We were going back like years, like what songs are going to make it, but it ended up being songs that I'm really proud of, and I think all kind of meld well together in an album format. So it starts off Ain't Got a Cape, and then there's peaks, there's valleys, whatever other metaphors you want to use throughout it. But it's I think it's a pretty good listen. I think it so I guess I really enjoy it. So since we put it out, we've gotten a good amount of reviews on it. I think like 9 or 10 reviews now, but they've all been super positive and very complimentary, which means a lot because I'm sure you guys know how much work it takes to really, you got to put in to write all the songs, do all the production, do everything, start slowly planning to put it out. And it takes a long time, and there's a lot of people involved, and it takes a lot of energy. So it's nice to finally see, people in the industry and different reviewers out there actually enjoy listening to it. So it's been cool to see the responses out there.
You know what I really like too is that that you decided to do an album instead of just throwing some singles out and stuff, and then seeing what happens with your career in that manner of just being like, here's an entire album, and this is me right now. Is such a way to go.
Oh yeah, for sure. I definitely see like a lot of people say nowadays, just put out like singles. Like there's no point for an album format because nobody really buys CDs, or people only buy vinyls of bigger artists, I guess, for the most part. But I definitely felt like I wanted to put out an album to have people see who I really am, I guess, as an artist, and be able to see like the whole picture at once, as opposed to just like little clips of like happy song, sad song. Like you just see that one thing and you don't really get to see the whole picture.
Yeah.
And I was just writing so many songs and just decided it was time and the best idea to just put out an album.
Yeah, and you're right. It's a complete showcase of your music and everything at the moment. And no, I love it. I mean, I am a pro album fan, and I always like when you can put on an artist. It happens to me quite often. I forget who it hung up on me on an artist on the way home now, and it's failing me now. But it's so nice to be able to just be like, if I have something on shuffle, and be like, oh no, now I'm listening to this, and it just like goes straight through the whole album. I like that feeling instead of just being like, man, what else do they have? Oh, they have 4 singles out. What the hell's that?
I started to appreciate like just listening to albums all the way through like the past few years, I would say.
Yeah.
I mean, sometimes I do throw on some playlists, which are fine for if I'm not really listening or like going to the gym or something like that. But There's definitely something different about just listening to an album like all the way through, really like understand what they're about.
Yeah, and you keep kind of mentioning that, kind of getting to understand the artist and kind of know who you are. Knowing now that you're from Northern Virginia, it kind of makes a little sense. I don't know if you noted, I'm sure you did because you wrote these songs, but your imagery of change, you talk a lot through the album of color change and the season change and the greens to browns. I as a writer myself, I found a lot of connection through the album that really made it stand out to me, and I appreciate a good like from start to finish. It really showed me who you were as the things that resonate with you, and I mean, Colors Fade is the name of the album, right? That's pretty spot on to what I've noticed throughout the record. Yeah.
Thanks. I mean, that's definitely the goal. Yeah, for sure. I appreciate it.
Cool. So along with the release of the record, slightly after that, you released a duet with Mary Heather Hickman, which is like the newest single off the record, Fake One's Here. We're going to play that song at the end of the episode, but why don't you kind of fill us in a little bit, how that song came to be? Not so much, well, I guess the song too, but also, working with her and how that came to be.
Yeah, for sure. So yeah, that's definitely one of my favorite songs I've written. Yeah, so that one I started writing it, in my apartment back in Virginia that I was at for a long time. But wrote like the first verse and chorus, and then just kind of like stuck it back in my notes and like didn't look at it for a while. I always knew that like there was something there, but it just wasn't quite there, I guess, and always like just assumed I'd go back to it. And then I had that trip down to Nashville to go do some co-writes. So I was like looking through my older stuff, like what should I bring in? And then I did a co-write with Jennifer Hart. I'm not sure if you guys know her. And then she's an artist down here. And then her husband, Robert Ricotta. And I kind of, the night before I was sitting down with my dad, like listening to the songs, like, is this going to be a good one? And we were like, yeah, it'd be pretty good. And then we decided to try to make it a duet, given I was going to go in with, and write with like a girl to get the girl side perspective of the story. So I kind of went in with the first verse and chorus, and yeah, we wrote the rest of the song, and it ended up being one of my favorites that I had. I was like, this is so cool. So then I definitely knew I wanted it on the album. So the next step was to try to find somebody to sing on the song, to sing with me. So I just started like checking, Instagram and stuff like that. I knew of Mary Heather Hickman, like I've followed her on his Instagram and stuff and liked a lot of her singles and tracks that she's been releasing and thinks that she has a great voice. So we asked her to be part of it and she wanted to do it, which was cool. And it turned out to be one of my favorite songs that we recorded. I think it turned out great.
No, I agree. This is another one. I had just listened to it because Ronnie had brought it up to me to listen to this track, and I mean, her voice and your voice complement each other really nicely, and that makes listening to the song very easy. What's the closing two lines of the chorus? Because like that was my hook. Like with those two lines, I was like, oh, that's good.
Yeah, I guess giving you my heart in all these years wasn't even enough for you to fake one tear.
That's a man, perfect set of lines.
Yeah, that was definitely a satisfying feeling when I was like, oh, okay, those lines go well together. I guess I'll write that down.
Yeah, and a great FU.
Yeah. Yeah. Like, after all I've done for you, you can't even shed one tear.
Yeah, no, that's great.
Yeah, the I guess going back to relating to a song. Earlier this year, I went through a little bit of a divorce, and
Okay.
this song was
Yeah.
when I first heard this, I was like, I don't think either one of us cried over it. Like, so then it made me start thinking like, oh wow, like that really was a terrible situation to be in. So
Yeah.
but yeah, no, this is a great song, man, and so I love when lines just come together and throughout this whole song they do, and it's so good.
Oh, thank you, man. That means a lot. Thank you.
Yeah. So you mentioned you moved to Nashville not that long ago, about 2 months or so now, which was kind of right before the release of Colors Fade. I'm curious, when you look back at making the record versus now, living in Nashville, if there's anything you kind of learned along the way that you wish you knew going into the record, or kind of just how that transition from being on the outside to now being on the inside has gone for you.
For sure. Well, definitely, always looking back, you can always like find things that you probably want to change. And that's definitely the case. Like even listening to my album, like I wish like I did like this vocal part different, or like those words a little bit different. Which I'm sure everybody feels at one point or another, like looking back on their old stuff. But it was definitely something I'm still proud of, but something that I, tried my best on, like when I was doing it before. And it's like one of those things that it just kind of there was a lot of like learning blocks along the way, like even just going in the studio and like trying to find a sound that resonated with like what I really wanted to go for. Because that's like another thing, I've only done like singles and stuff like that, just like sparsely enough. But I kind of knew what I wanted my sound to be like, but I knew like I wasn't like exactly there quite yet. So it was really cool to kind of go in the studio and like hear somebody play a part, or like hear like the band come together and be like, "Ooh, it's like what I want my songs to sound like." So it's been a pretty cool change. It's definitely gotten me more excited for the next project that I start doing, because it taught me a lot of things, like going through the first album. It made my perception of, I guess, what I want to sound like in the studio a little bit stronger, and have like more ideas like going forward. So it definitely taught me a lot, but yeah, it's gonna pave the way for me to be a stronger artist in the future.
Yeah, and those first times through, you're not as confident or anything, like, to speak up to especially like seasoned session musicians.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I mean, a lot of it is like, yeah, that is kind of what I want to do. And now the second time through, you'll have a lot more of like, I know exactly what I need this set to sound like.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, there were like parts and pieces where like I just started hearing it like a little bit. I'm sure the next album's going to be even more like what I really want to be. Yeah. But this one was definitely a great start. And I'm, glad that I released it when I did. Yeah.
Yeah, man. And you playing out?
Yeah, been trying to get out a little bit, doing some writers rounds. I'm playing at the local tomorrow for Porch Light Pickers at 10 p.m., so a late one. So yeah, I did a festival last week back in Virginia, back in my hometown, which was a lot of fun. Got to see my family again. Didn't realize how much I was going to miss them until you move away and then don't see them for a few months. But so that was good to see them. And then I'm playing like a few other places. I'm playing at the Bluebird, which is very exciting, September 18th.
Nice.
For writers around there. And then, yeah, just like a few other festivals and stuff like that. So no real like tours or anything yet, but I was just going to put the album out, move down, and then try to start booking for next year, I guess, to try to play the record a little bit.
No, that sounds like a hell of a plan, man. And yeah, it's really cool that you're going to be at the Bluebird. I'm awfully jealous of that one. That's awesome.
Yeah, I'm super excited. I've been there to like watch a show, but it was definitely one of the coolest shows I've seen. Like, it was so unique and like intimate, and they're just in a circle right in the center of the room. It's very cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So yeah. So the album's out. Kind of gearing up for 2025. We're a few months away. So kind of. You mentioned the next project. Kind of start working on stuff like that. Anything coming on down the line that you want to touch on? Next single, anything like that, or are you still just plugging away at the album here?
Yeah, nothing really new quite yet. But yeah, if you guys anyone out there listening or watching haven't checked out my album yet, it's out, and hope you guys can find some songs that you guys enjoy. And obviously, there's going to be more down the road, so give me a follow on socials to stay on path along the way.
No, that's awesome, and yeah, we're definitely look forward. I think speaking from both Ronnie and I, especially since this is like Ronnie's soundtrack to his life, your music.
Well, I appreciate that, Ronnie.
We'll definitely be following along, and look forward to the next one and seeing how this career of yours goes.
I appreciate that, guys. No, thank you so much.
Yeah, and before we hang up, let everyone know where they can find you online, and we'll give you some follows.
Cool. Well, if you guys do want to listen to the new album, you can follow me or listen to any of my music on Spotify, Apple Music, any streaming service, just at Connor Daly, ConnorDaly. And then any social media platform, I'll be on there for the most part, unless it's really obscure, like Instagram, Facebook, whatever, YouTube. Connor Daly Music, I'll be there. So hope to see y'all there.
All right, so that was our interview with Connor Daly. Yeah, for being, we always take the summers off, so being that's the first one back, and he's a good guy to talk to, and we had a lot of fun chatting with him.
Yeah, man, that was fun. It was good to get the cobwebs out of my interviewing skills. I had taken quite a bit of time off, and so yeah, it was nice. He's an awesome artist. The song that we played in the interview was great. Yeah, and I'm really looking forward to following along more on his stuff.
Yeah. Since he put out that Colors Fade, the debut album, I don't anticipate any slowing down, and the songs on that record, Ain't Got a Cape, which we played, and Fake One Tear, which we talked about and we'll play at the end. It's I anticipate that he's going to be putting out some good stuff for a long time here.
Yeah, man, and we definitely want to thank Connor for coming on Outside the Circle. Make sure you go and follow him on all of his social media, music listening platforms. We leave you today with another track from Connor Daly, Fake One Tear.
I walk in and take a seat next to you. Had no idea it was gonna be the last time, 'cause I never saw goodbye in your eyes. Wish I would've been just a little bit wiser, 'cause this ground that we've been standing on broke right through and now it's gone. And I was there holding back all the words I wanna say when I'm mad, 'cause everything I feared is coming true. Doors closing on us in this burning room. Sitting there, breaking up on the same couch where we made love. I guess giving you my heart in all these years wasn't even enough for you to fake one tear.
I just don't know how you couldn't see these broken walls around you and me.
And I was there, holding back all the words I wanna say when I'm mad, 'cause everything I feared is coming true. Doors closing on us in this burning room. Sitting there, breaking up on the same couch where we made love. I guess giving you my heart in all these years
wasn't even enough for me to fake one tear.
It was everything we wanted until it wasn't. All of a sudden I was there, holding back all the words I wanna say when I'm mad, 'cause everything I feared is coming true. Doors closing on us in this burning room. Sitting there, breaking up on the same couch where we made love. I guess giving you my heart in all these years wasn't even enough for you to fake one tear.